to the Follett Discover Adopt training. My name is Matt Arnold. I am the course material regional manager for your account. So I oversee, to some extent, course materials operation, kind of functionally act as your bookstore manager. So anytime you need to reach out to someone on campus, if you can't reach the specific contacts that may be assigned for those areas, you can reach out to me. So my email address is marnold@follett.com. I'll put that in the chat just so you have it. If you have any questions after this presentation, feel free to reach out to me. So again, we're here to talk about the Follett Discover Adopt platform. So what we use Follett Discover Adopt for is to collect adoptions from faculty, administrators, whoever it is that are going to put in adoptions for your particular institution. In this case, we're utilizing the tool primarily for what we call concierge access. So what concierge access is, it's the ability to put in adoptions on behalf of other faculty. We're not going to, in this case, let the faculty put in the adoptions themselves through the tool, through what we would call Faculty Adopt. So the concierge level allows them to communicate to you in the fashion that you see appropriate, and then submit to us directly the adoptions that you want to put in. When you utilize this function for the concierge access, it's a URL-based login. So the first thing you see here in the middle of your screen is your URL for Follett Discover. So that's parisjc.follettdiscover.com. So you will go to that website. Once you go to the website, it'll ask you for a login. Everyone will be set up with a login for this account in order to access it. We will send you a confirmation email when we create the login for the first time, and it'll ask you to log in and reset the password. That link for password reset is only good for 24 hours. So if for any reason we send it to you and you end up out of office or you miss the email, then just reach back out to us and we'll resend you a new invite. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here. Again, I've had an account set up for myself for your institution. Now, the first thing you're going to see when I'm logging into this tool is I have two levels of access. I have department admin access and I have concierge access. We're really not using the department admin access here. That is a tool that we could implement in the future if we so desire, but I'm not going to cover that now. It essentially would allow faculty to put in adoptions and then you would approve them as you go forward. Again, that's an extra tool that we can discuss down the road. For now, you're collecting adoptions for the process you've been using in the past, and then you're submitting them to us through this tool as a concierge. So going to go ahead and click into concierge level access. The first time you access the tool, it will provide you a quick tutorial. So you can watch that tutorial on how to enter adoptions through the tool. Just get acclimated to it immediately. It's really short. It's only a few minutes long, the tool itself, the introduction tool. And you can see right now I'm dropped in directly to what we call currently beta. Beta is the general platform that's being launched going forward. You'll see towards the end of this presentation what we call Classic. There's a few tools that are still visible only in Classic that will eventually push into this version, which is beta. I'll go over those. But as you can see, we've landed here. I'm in the current term fall. I am going to show you information in fall because there's already data present in that term. But you can switch up ahead to whichever term to review data that you like. Again, we're going to stick with fall. And you can see I've dropped in right now to accounting. Because I'm a concierge user, I have access to all the departments that we have given you access to. Presently, we're given access to everyone for all departments. But if you like, we can winnow that down so people only have access to particular departments. We find it more often more interesting to give everybody access because if they need to train people in other departments or if someone's out for a period of time, you have the access to all the available courses to put in those adoptions. And you can see right now I'm looking at accounting. So accounting for the fall academic term has no open adoptions. Good job, accounting team. You got all your adoptions in. However, we can go over and look to see what adoptions were submitted for the current accounting schedule. And you can see right away we have 2301 as a course, 2302 as a course, and here are the materials that were currently adopted for those materials. 2301 in this case, 2302 in that case. So when you put in adoptions, the first time, I'm going to click on this edit, and this will show you more or less what the adoption portal looks like. You wouldn't see this in here yet because this is an adopted material, but you will see this search and add materials. My first recommendation to you is work with the publisher to get the 13-digit ISBN for the material you want. Why do I say that? Well, you have a lot of courseware on campus, and the courseware is specific to the ISBN number. So working with them on that 13-digit ISBN number will really give you what is needed for that course. And again, transmit that to us so we know what information is needed for that particular course. You can search by title and ISBN, but as you can guess, we have thousands of publishers.
Hey, Matthew, I just want to make a note real quick. So we did see some courses. We did see some courses the ISBN provided. They only got the textbook, and they were expecting the e-material with the textbook. So just be sure y'all watch that when y'all submit these. We saw that not a whole lot, maybe 3 or 4 courses, but that we did see that this time around. So just be sure.
Would that be something that the instructor needs to get the right ISBN though?
Well, that's because everybody in the process needs to check, because the faculty will submit it, but they may not, they just see the book, not realizing that the ISBN they gave us. There's 2 different ISBNs. There's one with just the book, and there's a separate one for the e-material. So just be sure y'all watch that.
Yes. So that's a very good point. So this is a digital priority program, right? So when an ISBN is submitted to us, the assumption is that we'll want to adopt the digital version of that. This is also further complicated because some publishers have different 13-digit ISBN numbers for access material than they do for regular ebooks. So you may submit to us a courseware ISBN number, and then we may have to change it to that digital access ISBN. So you kind of have to rely on us, but definitely ask us questions. One of the things that is available, if you have any questions during the process, you can go over here to view. That will give you some information on the book that's adopted, but it also makes this bookstore note field. So you can pass us notes through the tool itself if you have any questions. So this is also important if for any reason you do need print material. We did discover there were in some cases where there were workbooks that were needed as print. This is a good thing to just put in a quick note to hand us to say, hey, this is an exception that I need the print material for. Please don't submit this as a digital. Otherwise, we're always going to assume that it's the digital item that's going to be provisioned on campus. For those few exceptions, again, pass us a note here, or as you can see over in the corner here as well, there's a message center. You can also send that information directly to Janet on that particular material. One other thing I want to show. So in the case where a publisher may have given you the access only ISBN, that may not show up through the particular search. So if you're saying, I'm just going to make up something that obviously isn't going to show up in the search here. So you can see, pretend I put in an ISBN number that isn't shown. So this is where you can request missing material because you have the ISBN number that you've been given. You assume it's correct. This is where you can enter it. Now, this functionality is only in Classic, so it's going to redirect us back to the Classic, but you can see this is where you can add all the information you have available. So you'd put in the author, the title, the publisher, the edition, copyright date, the ISBN you were given by the publisher, and also there's a note function here. So in this example, you can give us everything you have available if you weren't able to enter it into the tool, and all of that information will push to Janet. Janet will be able to reach back out to you if she has any questions or create the title from that as necessary. All right, that's a big jump. So any questions on that? So again, we've looked for the material. We didn't find it. It asks us to put it in as missing material, so then we can go out to do that.
So I just want to chime in real quick with another thing that will just make it easier. So another tip is that when you're entering ISBNs, it's looking for the 13-digit, which usually starts with a 978, 979. Entering it without dashes and without spaces is often going to get you a better search result in our system. So just keep in mind you're looking for 13 characters, right? Which are the 13 numbers, no spaces, no dashes, will often get you a better return.
Yeah. And if there are no materials for a particular course, you can see those options are here, no materials required or using OER material. You can often look up the OER material and adopt it into the adoption so that students can access it through the tool. But you can also just flag it as OER as well, knowing that the students will get that information through your syllabus or some other resource. Another quick thing to know is, since you guys are going to be putting these in as concierge users, if you have a lot of sections, you can put in adoptions by course or by section. So if I go back to the course search here, you'll note that the two adoptions that were entered were both sections for 2301. So through this model, you would be able to put in adoption for all sections, or you can put them in individually by section number, at which point you'll see that now you can see the section is visible. Section 200 by Kuhn, section 900 by Causey. So if you have different adoptions per section, you'll want to stay in the view by section. But if you're doing a course, say Biology 100, that they're all going to use the same textbook, you can switch back to course and put in the adoption one time, and it'll apply to all those particular courses. If anything needs to be changed, I kind of already showed you this before, but again, you can hit edit, hit this little trash can, it'll remove the adoption. And then you can also add additional materials as you select here. If you're in a big screen with a bunch of different titles, then you would just select the particular titles that you wish to remove. Another option you have available here is add custom content. By clicking on this, it allows you to drop particular files or other websites that you may want the students to access during the course of the class. So you could also upload your syllabus here if you wanted. So this is a way for you to add any custom materials that you want the students to have access through the material additionally.
Matt, before you navigate away from that editing adoption here, I do want to
Okay.
chime in too. So as we get a history for your courses, you will see populated here. So when we start to do spring previous term information, so under the usage where it says required, that's how I know this title has been added and adopted for the current term. You will see, you won't see a usage if it is something that hasn't been added, but you would be able to check the box at the front and add, submit changes or add to adoption. So we're not seeing that here because these things have been added and approved and have already been submitted through. But when you go to do your spring, you'll see the history of the course information, the book information there. So I don't want anybody to think that just because it's there, it's been added, right? You want to definitely see that required usage or recommended if it's going recommended. And that's how you will know it's been added to the course. And I think now might be a good time to pause for any questions, Daryl, on your side too.
Question?
Good. Matt's very good at this. So.
Okay, so then I'll move on. Oh, sorry, was there a question?
No, it's the feedback. I'll mute Daryl
Yeah, I
again.
think it was. All right, so then I'm going to switch into Classic. So again, this is beta. This is going to be the standard version. But if anyone has any familiarity with the Classic version, you're about to see what that looks like. So this is the old presentation for what Follett Discover was. And this is probably the thing you'll be most excited about in the process, because this still contains what we call the My Adoption dashboard. So I'm going to click into the My Adoption dashboard real quick. And this is where you can see the progress of your term as you move along. So you can see, again, we're looking at the fall term. It shows you the year over year where we were. Did a lot better last year. You can see how quickly we got ahead of the game. Then it kind of stayed even there for a while, and then we jumped ahead again. So again, we had 97% completion of courses. Wouldn't worry about the 3%, probably stuff that was like, dissertations or something without particular materials. But if you scroll down here further, then you can further break down where you are with your particular standing. So I'll just show everything for now and hit update. And this is all your courses with all the status on their adoptions. So you can see the course, yes, and this is exportable at any time. So if I resort this from the bottom down, so where are those 3%? So here's your 3% of the individuals that didn't turn in courses. So sorry if I'm shining a light on anybody in a negative fashion right now. But the other good thing about this is you can also send them reminders. So as you go through, you can hit these little buttons and it'll send them specific emails for those courses to remind them to put in their titles. And again, we like you to also put in anything that's no titles required. So these probably all were no titles required. So someone could update those.
Yes, and I know what at least 3 of those are, Matt, and I do think we've had maybe 1 or 2 added for the October term based on that. So again, nobody worry, I'm on it.
Yep. And you can also break this down a little bit as well, so you can see individual progress by department. All right, any question on that? So again, that's still in the concierge. So if you want to look at your adoption dashboard to get a true missing list or where you are with your adoptions, you can come back to the up here in the corner. You'll see classic or beta as an option. It says this way and this way, and the other one it says try classic. So you can come here to get that progress report whenever you need. Library is also available. That's something that will be pushed forward. If you adopt things regularly, you can add them to your library. And again, this is going to look like it does from the particular concierge dashboard, but it would allow you to adopt them to multiple classes across multiple sections. So you would click on the title itself, and then you can go down here and select all the options needed to adopt this particular materials through. So you go through and you'd select them, you'd select the courses, and then it'll adopt them all from your library directly to those particular courses. Again, that's really only useful for things like APA manuals, where you may be adopting them across a lot of different, or Chicago style guides. Anywhere you need to adopt them in a lot of different classes, this is a way for you to go through and pick all those individual out to make sure they're all adopted to those particular courses. All right. So we have reached the question period. What questions do we have?
Pretty straightforward, I guess, until we get in there and do it.
Yeah, so the spring data was not yet pushing forward. So I don't think it's available right now for you to enter adoptions into, but it will be soon, as we get that data feeding into our system.
If someone needs immediate help in real time, what's the fastest way for them to reach out to who?
I would say reach out to Janet first, because she's the one accepting the adoption, and the question is probably directly related to that adoption. So she can make sure that she's getting it as courseware instead of an ebook or any of those decisions made with you.
Yeah, I'll put my email address in the chat with Matt's.
But I am as available as well. I'll do my best, but I don't want to make sure I get the wrong thing adopted and she has the expertise.
And then, is there a way to, once we get all of our data in there, I want to set up a process to where, we can just all review it, make sure it's what we expect. Well, what's the easiest way to see everything? Can we export CSV or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, we can export a book list at any time, which would be the courses and the titles adopted for it. This tool obviously allows you to see better information on ISBN and format, etc. So it is good to go through this tool to sort of confirm that it's what you expect, and then reach back out to us if it isn't what you expect. But we can have a meeting. We can set up a meeting, invite you all back to, and then we can go through and just look at everything to see that nothing looks fishy.
Any other questions?
Is there a way for you guys to denote that it was an ebook only? Like, could they just look at their materials and know which ones are ebook only or which ones have content, other content?
There's a format note here. Janet, would you say that format note is mostly consistent?
Yeah, so I think you got to be careful, because like that particular book Matt's showing is See Now, so it's a courseware product, so requires not just the ebook but the interactive homework, etc., that comes with the publisher courseware. So ebook is what will show, but the question is it just the ebook, or is it a courseware, which Sebastian I think is the one that brought up earlier. So that's where a note with your adoption to make sure that courseware, if you say I need See Now, helps us narrow down the material you're looking for. I will also say that, as Matt noted, once we start to get items, we'll be able to provide an Excel type spreadsheet that would show what has digital and who those digital providers are. Daryl, Sebastian, we've talked about that at length, versus the print. And then our Follett, our shop website, will also show exactly what's being provisioned to students. So as we start to collect the information, if people have questions, we can navigate that.
Yeah, that's why I stress it's good to work with a publisher representative first to make sure that publisher representative is getting the right ISBN number to us. The other good news is, as we move forward with this, the readoption rate is more consistent. So we'll see that, hey, this is an ebook now and it was courseware, and we'll need to ask the question of, are you in fact changing from the courseware to the ebook and just not the wrong material was submitted?
We do. Anybody else?
Anything else?
So then
Alright.
we will work with Sebastian to make sure that once the, I know we did some emailing this morning, but once your spring term data hits our system, then the adoption platform is ready to go for spring. So we'll make sure a communication goes out to everyone through our Follett Discover. All of you should have had accounts set up. I see they were all activated. If you don't think you have an account, let me know and I can set that up for you.
Yeah, we'll send out tutorials generally to you as needed. So there's a very large tutorial here for the entire platform. We also have the smaller ones sometimes we'll send out with adoptions to just remind you where the URL are. So just parisjc@follettdiscover.com. Always good to bookmark that as soon as you have that invite.
And we're scheduling a meeting with our course builders in Jenzibar just to make sure that we build the courses as efficiently as possible. So we'll get that data pretty quick.
Wonderful. All right.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you send out that reporting too?
Yes, I will. Let me stop
Bye.
it now. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.